Hey folks, buckle up because we're diving headfirst into the swirling, smoke-filled vortex that is the wild, wacky history of The Joker by the Steve Miller Band. You know the one, that sneaky earworm that creeps into your brain like a midnight toker sneaking a puff behind the garage. Yeah, even if you're too cool for classic rock, admit it, you've hummed lovey-dovey while stuck in traffic, pretending it's ironic. But oh man, this tune's got layers deeper than a 70s shag carpet soaked in patchouli oil. We're talking misheard lyrics that spawned movies, a lawsuit over sweet nothings, and a cultural ripple that hit Gen X like a flannel-wrapped brick. Stick around. I've got trivia that'll make your inner historian high-five your inner comedian, and maybe even provoke your inner punk to spike its hair in protest. Let's crank this up. Picture this. It's the early 70s and the world's a mess. Vietnam's dragging on like a bad acid trip that won't end, Nixon's sweating bullets on TV, and the counterculture's morphing from flower power to something grittier, more urgent. Enter Steve Miller, a guy who's been grinding in the music scene since the late 60s with his band, churning out psychedelic jams that lit up underground radio but hadn't quite cracked the mainstream code. Miller's no rookie. Hell, as a kid in Milwaukee, he learned guitar licks from the godfather of electric guitars himself, Les Paul, who was basically his dad's buddy. Imagine little Steve, 12 years old, shredding scales while Les shows him how to play with his teeth. Talk about starting with a bang, or should I say a twang. By 73, though, Miller's feeling the burn. The band's lineups shuffled like a deck of cards in a smoky bar, and he's itching to simplify, to strip back the cosmic weirdness and drop something catchy, something that screams "turn me up" without needing a lava lamp to appreciate. So the spark for The Joker? It hits Miller like a cosmic joke, pieced together from his own back catalogue and a dash of accidental genius. See, the song's a Frankenstein of self-references. That Space Cowboy line? Straight from his 1969 track Space Cowboy on the album Brave New World. Gangster of Love. That's nodding to Johnny Guitar Watson's 1957 blues banger, which Miller covered way back. And Maurice, from his own sly 1972 ditty Enter Morris, where he first drops the infamous Pompotus of Love. Ah, Pompotus, the word that launched 1,000 Google searches and one hilariously confused movie. But we'll get to that. Miller's chilling in his San Francisco pad, strumming away when these fragments click. He wants something light, fun, a palate cleanser for the era's heaviness. I was trying to write a song that would make people smile, he later said, like a balm for the soul, amid all the protest marches and draft dodges. And get this, Paul McCartney himself gave him lyric advice back in '69, telling him to keep it loose, let the words flow like a jam session. What if Miller had ignored that? We'd have The Joker as a 20-minute prog rock epic about quantum physics. Dodged a bullet there, huh? But the real magic, or mayhem, is in those lyrics. Some people call me the Space Cowboy, yeah. Some call me the Gangster of Love. It's Miller owning his nicknames, winking at his rep as this cosmic outlaw who's all about the good vibes. Then there's I'm a Midnight Toker, straight up weed reference, folks. In '73, that's bold, like flashing a joint at a cop during Woodstock. Miller's not hiding it, he's celebrating the chill life, the escape from the grind. And Lovey-Dovey? Borrowed from the Clovers' 1954 R&Amp dib hit Lovey-Dovey, co-written by Amit Ertegun of Atlantic Records fame. Innocent nod, right? Wrong. More on that lawsuit later. As for Pompotus of Love, it's not some ancient Sanskrit secret or a fancy French dessert. Nah, Miller misheard Puppetutes of Love from Vernon Green's 1954 doo-wop gem The Letter by the Medallions. Green meant puppetutes, as in puppet-like gestures of affection, but Miller twisted it into Pompotus, first in Enter Maurice, then immortalized it here. It's like autocorrect gone rogue, but in the best way. What if Green had enunciated better? We'd be singing about puppetutes, and that just sounds like a bad marionette show. All right, let's roll into the album and release Shenanigans. because nothing says rock and roll like studio drama and a dash of serendipity. By 73, the Steve Miller Band's down to a tight trio. Miller on guitar and vocals, Dickie Thompson on keys, and Gerald Johnson on bass, with session drummer John King filling in. They're holed up at Capitol Studios in Hollywood, that legendary spot where Sinatra crooned and the Beach Boys harmonized. Miller's producing himself for the first time, ditching the psychedelic sprawl for a leaner, bluesier vibe. Think slide guitar slithering like a snake through fog. That iconic bass line thumping like a heartbeat after too much coffee. The album's called The Joker, and the cover? Pure whimsy. Miller stumbles into a costume shop, spots this creepy cool jester mask, and boom, instant icon. He tells it like he wandered back the next day, and the shop owner had a box of them waiting. What if he'd picked a clown nose instead? We'd have the Bozo album, and history's a lot less cool. The record drops in October 73, and the Joker single hits the airwaves. At first, it's a slow burn. Climbs to #1 on the Billboard Hot 100 by early 74, but not without some radio pushback. That Midnight Toker line. Some stations balked, sniffing censorship like a narc at a dead show. But fans ate it up, especially the Gen X precursors, those latchkey kids tuning in on AM radios, finding solace in its irreverent swagger amid Watergate headlines. Shenanigans ensue, tours where Miller's band plays dives in arenas alike, dodging groupies and bad acid. One what if. Imagine if Miller had stuck to psych rock. The Joker might have flopped like a Led Zeppelin. Wait, bad pun, but you get it. Now, buckle in for the rise to mythic status, where controversies brew like cheap beer at a frat party. First off, that lovey-dovey line. Ahmet Ertegun Suis, claiming plagiarism from the Clovers track. It settles out of court. No big drama, but enough to add spice. Miller's like, hey, it's homage. But in rock, homage often means hand over the royalties. Then there's the Pompatus puzzle. Fans dissecting it like it's the Da Vinci Code. Myths fly. Is it backmasking Satan? Play it backward and nada, just garbled guitar. Debunked, folks. No hidden messages, unless you count buy more albums. But the real myth-making? How it threaded into Gen X culture. This song's the soundtrack for Misfits, the space cowboys rejecting corporate grind, toking at midnight as therapy for Reagan-era excess. Ripple effects? It paved the way for slacker anthems, influencing everything from grunge's anti-hero vibe to 90s alt-rock. Satirical swipe. While hair metal dudes were aquanetting their manes into ozone-killing sculptures and singing about cherry pies, Miller was dropping subtle jabs at the establishment with a smirk and a slide whistle. What if glam rock had won? We'd all be in spandex and the Joker would have been forgotten like last night's hangover. Fast forward to legacy and lasting weirdness, because this Joker's got 9 lives. Fast asleep for years, it explodes again in 1990 when a Levi's jeans ad uses it, rocketing to #1 in the UK after a 16-year gap. Corporate co-opting at its finest, selling denim with a counterculture hit. Ironic, right? Like punk bands hawking energy drinks. The Pompatus even inspires a 1996 flick, The Pompatus of Love, where John Cryer and pals debate its meaning like philosophers on a bender. Obscure trivia alert, that weird wolf whistle? A slide whistle effect, pure 70s cheese. And Gen X. They crank it up on classic rock stations. A reminder that life's too short not to be a joker in a world of kings. Ripple to Riot Girl? Well, that DIY punk ethos echoes Miller's self-produced grit. Imagine Kathleen Hanna graffitiing Pompatus on a wall as a feminist mantra. Absurd what if? What if Miller joined Nirvana? Kurt Cobain singing Smells Like Pompatus, mind blown. Whew, we've jammed through the chaos, the laughs, the lore. The Joker isn't just a song. It's a time capsule of rebellion wrapped in a grin. Respectful nod to Miller's genius for turning mishaps into magic. If this tale tickled your funny bone or sparked a trivia fire, smash that like button Subscribe for more rock riffs and punk provocations, and drop a comment. What's your wildest Joker memory? Until next time, keep token at midnight. Metaphorically, of course.
Or not.
I'm not your mum. Peace out.